So this is live. I'm making sure the mic works. Cool. Is there a way to share my screen on here? Screen share. Okay, I can make a, wait. Okay, I'm gonna try to get my screen sharing set up real quick. Oh, right. Can I hear anyone or get any kind of response, or am I just like talking to the internet? All right, cool. I will get started then. So Chrome extensions, how to build them. Yeah, so I guess for anyone watching who doesn't really know me, I'm Glenn. I do contract web development consulting around here in Athens. And so you may know I've been doing some recent client work building a Chrome extension that I'm hoping to launch. We're hoping to launch in the next month or so. And yeah, some people ask about it, so I thought I'd kind of share what I've learned about building a Chrome extension. It's a really handy way if you have an app where you maybe have users, you want users to have easy, like anytime access. Some examples of like Buffer or Evernote or something I use day to day. And you can interact with other websites while they're using them, which is really handy. And come to find out that building Chrome extensions is probably a lot more accessible than you might have guessed. Since it's all browser technology, it's all HTML, CSS, and client-side JavaScript. There's not even any Node.js or things like that. And it's actually probably even easier than doing typical client-side web development because you have to support one browser and 0 phones. It only has to work in Chrome. And then you have a few sort of Chrome exclusive APIs that you can access that I will get into in a bit. So yeah, I'm going to switch to sharing my screen now and show you guys some of the, show you what a Chrome extension looks like and how they're structured. You can probably get one up and running in literally a few minutes. So basically, a Chrome extension is going to be a folder that contains your whatever assets you're going to be using. So your JavaScript, your CSS, HTML, images, what have you. And what you're looking at right now, I found that I can't really show my client work on this call since it's going to be on the internet publicly. But I saw that Asana has made their Chrome extension publicly viewable and open source on GitHub. So I'll be using them along with some of the documentation as an example. So you'll see here that pretty much just, you see they just did a flat file structure. You can set this up however you want. Mine sort of has a sort of bin lib style using grunt to minify some JavaScript and things. Yeah, the one sort of unique file here is, you'll see here, it's called the manifest.json file. This is sort of the core of basically your entire structure of everything your app does is defined here. And so, yeah, here's the field summary and basically manifest version, the name, your version string. Most of these are typical icons. The actions and background, I should probably dive into a bit here. So there are basically 4 ways that you can run your scripts in a Chrome extension. So a browser action is basically means when you click an icon in the Chrome icon in the top right corner. For example, here, if I click Buffer, then I will get a pop-up and it will ask me to add this link to Buffer. This actually Well, yeah. Or here we go. Or Pocket's a similar service. Oh, I didn't mean to save that, but okay. So those there are browser actions. There's also page actions where you click these and it opens a self-contained web page. I should also point out that the browser actions basically run as a self-contained single-page web application. So anything that's going on in your pop-up over here will have its own scope and everything. And it won't have direct access to anything going on in the tabs, but there is ways to get that, and I'll get to that in a second. So those are browser actions, page actions. You can also have content scripts, and a content script is a CSS or JavaScript file that you inject into the tabs. So if you make a content script, you can change the behavior of a page, and you can set those to run on every page or set it to only run on certain domains or certain URLs that match a certain schema. And then there are background processes, which are probably what they sound like. They run in the background of the browser. And those can be basically running all of the time or just when you call them. And background, this is probably why Chrome extensions can have a bad habit of slowing down your browser if you have a lot of them installed, because many people probably wrote background processes not considering how much it could be affecting your browser's performance. And you can also see here, you can set it persistent, true or false, where if persistent is false, then the background script won't start running until you make it run from either a page, browser action, or content script. And the primary reason the background script is very handy is that Chrome has a messaging API built in. You can basically, from any of your scripts, call a send message and then call on message.add listener and pass. So anyone can talk to the background. Content scripts cannot talk directly to browser or page actions. But if, for example, I wanted to pass data from a page to my browser action, I could send a message to the background. The background could send a message to my browser action. So yeah, so you can basically run on a page in your own sort of self-contained app that's activated when a user clicks a button, or in your own self-contained environment where it's in the background and users don't really see it. So I'm seeing if there's anything else that comes up on the manifest. There's a lot of optional fields. You see content scripts. There is you can set the URL of your thing. What else? There are a few. I think permissions is a big one. Don't really have time to get too deep into that, but permissions is basically, can you access the tabs API? Can you access cookies? Which domains does it run on? You can set it to run on basically all domains or just some. Yeah, so that is sort of the gist, is that you have these sort of smaller web apps that have the ability to talk to each other and use the Chrome using the Chrome API. And I'll see if I can pull that up. For sort of an overview, because you can sort of, even though you're writing web apps, since you're running it in Chrome, you can have some access to features of the browser itself and sometimes even the system. So just to some examples, bookmarks, alarms, notifying the user, commands is basically creating your own shortcut keys. You'll see a lot here. Tabs let you let you get the URLs and see which tab is active. So on and so forth. I'm not going to get too into that. So yeah, so basically once you have a manifest file and you've defined the required fields, then I can real quickly show you what you would need to do is you can just go to your extensions tab in your Chrome browser. You can just type Chrome://extensions. And from there in the top right corner, you'll see a checkbox, check developer mode. And once you click that, you can click load unpacked extension, and you point that to the directory that has your manifest.json in the root of that directory, and assuming that you set everything up right, your plugin will be displayed in your browser that you can run it and test it locally. So yeah, that's about all I had. I guess there's a few minutes left. If anybody's in the Slack channel, I guess if you have questions, you can shoot them over there. I don't know if there is a way to send messages on this YouTube thing that I am doing, but I'm not really seeing anything. If there is, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. So there we go. That is Chrome extensions in a nutshell. I suppose we can look at this real example of Asana for a few minutes to see what a real life version looks like. So if we look at Asana, we'll see they have a background script. You'll see their script is an array. One thing to note, you can't really call third-party CDNs. It basically all has to be running locally. So if you're using something like jQuery, you see here, you'll need to have a local copy, and referring to that. The browser action, so they define the icon, the HTML when you click it, and the title from where you hover. The commands, I see, so Alt-Shift-A, looks like it, I would assume, adds a task to Asana. Description, a few different size icons, minimum Chrome version, permissions, you'll see here. I see you can access Asana Typekit in your active tab. So that is Chrome extensions for you. One question I did have someone ask me earlier when I mentioned this talk, or has come up, is people wondered about security with Chrome plugins, specifically how accessible your code is. And it is worth noting that these do still run as a client-side web application, basically. So any code, it can be, if you don't obfuscate your JavaScript or CSS, they can dig it out of the file system, or a lot of it. You can run in developer mode, and you can run the Chrome inspection tool. I'll show one example here. It's not doing anything now, but I could just be watching the console of my background process, for example, here. I don't know if that showed up on the feed. So don't put any sensitive or proprietary source code in your extension that you don't want out in the wild, that you wouldn't put on a web browser. So I see there was one question. You know, some of the clients users are down with the Chrome requirement. Going back to what you said about only have to worry about one browser, no mobile. Yeah, you know, I guess it really depends on the business needs. I haven't really looked into Firefox or Internet Explorer. I know they have their own extension libraries, app stores as well. I don't really know. I think Firefox is a similar structure. But yeah, I guess it really sort of depends on your analytics and your user base. I mean, for example, I know with the project I'm working on, just analytics show that a huge majority of desktop traffic is people in Chrome, and we could consider finding ways to sort of branch the plugin off into Firefox or Internet Explorer one day. But right now, yeah, it's just, I guess, yeah, it's just something only for Chrome users. Hope that answered your question, Marilyn. So, yeah. Guess I can flip the camera back on for a minute. Sweet, live from the basement in our podcasting studio. Okay, cool. Well, I guess that will about wrap it up. So I guess anyone here, if you're in the Slack channel, I'll be around for a bit. If you had any other questions or anything, feel free to ping me on there, or you can go to Glenn Stovall, GLENNSTOVALL.com/ask. I have a ongoing Ask Me Anything on the internet, so hit me up there. All right, cool. I will see you guys later.